I'll just lose it, you see. But you guys, very good. Thank you, gentlemen.
Okay.
Lovely.
And the first one we have here is the Yellowstone,
Right.
With the Morning Glory Fund, which has a unique color to it.
Right.
And we have a replica of Old Faithful geyser.
Right, that's that baby there.
That's the geyser right there.
Okay. This little train that's floating around, is that a one from that area, is it?
The train, years ago there would have been a train very similar.
Right.
The trains ran to almost every place in the country.
Yeah. They're still pretty strong, the railways, aren't they? Yeah. Very good.
So,
Very good. And
part of the Yellowstone is the campgrounds they have, which is duplicated here. And,
Right.
and you can see the bison are walking down the street, which does occur.
in the camping ground.
Right through the camping ground. And the size of the bison and their temperament, the best thing to do is let them walk through.
Right. Yeah, there's an awful lot of detail here, isn't there? You guys have done really well.
The picnic groves, the fishermen, the bears, bison. And then we have the National Bridge, National Monument. These are in Utah. There's 3 of these bridges. This one here is the thinnest.
Right.
They were just eroded out by the wind and so forth.
Just natural rock.
And they're just native rock, which is they became shaped in that manner.
Right. That's in Utah.
And that's in Utah, the state of Utah.
All right.
And then we have Mount Rushmore, which is quite famous.
That's the one with the big carvings in the rocks, isn't it?
That's with the carvings of the presidents.
There they are.
And then in front of them is the Plaza of the Flags.
The Plaza of the Flags.
Which there's a flag for each of the states plus the 7 possessions of the United States.
All right. God, that's quite a collection then, isn't it?
Yeah,
so to have them all like this together.
Yep, 57 flags that are there.
You would have had a bit of a problem getting flags from every state, wouldn't you? Would have taken some doing.
It's not too hard to do. I think what we did here is just going on the computer.
All right.
Looked up the states, got a picture of their flag, and printed it out.
Okay. Yeah. Right, in Virginia. Yeah. And this is young Thomas.
Thomas.
But anyway. And friends. So what's this one famous for? Mountain ranges or?
Pardon?
What's this national park famous for?
Shenandoah.
Yeah, but what's it famous for?
It's just a reserved area in the Virginia mountains.
Okay.
For recreation, passive recreation, and so forth, camping. And part of that area is the Smoky Mountains, which is also a national park. And I can point out some of the wildlife we have here. We have bunny rabbits and foxes.
All right.
And deer.
Yeah.
And we have eagles.
Okay.
And we have people loafing. There's some more deer, a lot of deer there. Of course, over here we have the bears.
The loafing guy. Hey, look at that. Isn't he special?
Yeah, the guy loafing there. There's bears there. We have the raccoons ready the garbage cans here.
All right.
Nobody's in the outhouse though. Something's wrong.
I know. I have somebody, but they you know,
Wouldn't allow it, eh?
they figure maybe a little kid picks the driving of the Golden Spike.
Right, so this is a big deal for you guys.
Yeah, that was a big deal for the country. It joined the West and the East by rail.
Okay.
And this was a big ceremony they had there when that occurred, and they actually drove a Golden Spike to commemorate it. You had the Western Pacific going west from the east, Union Pacific going east from the west coast.
Okay, yeah.
And this is still, you go up there today, there's still engines there duplicating the thing and so forth. A very nice site there. However, the railroad itself no longer runs through there. It was relocated in later years to a better, favorable route for the engines. But
okay. Yes.
so that was
quite a big achievement. It's a long way far, isn't it?
that was a big deal. Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is at the town of Santa Fe, with very historical place with missions and so forth.
Right.
In Arizona.
What is the gauge that these trains are running on?
It's called G gauge.
G gauge.
G for Garden Railroads.
Garden Railroad.
They basically, it originated in Europe.
Okay.
They first had these gardens with Flora gardens with trains running through them, and it finally got over to this country and
taken off.
It's really taken off, yeah. Many different things you can buy for it.
Right. Is it accessible for the average guy to do?
Yes, actually it's not all that expensive. The engines are a little expensive. You can pay $175 to $200
for a decent size
for an engine.
Yeah.
Most of the cars are probably somewhere in the $50 range.
Okay, right.
Now you get into passenger cars and they're more expensive. They might be $200.
Yeah.
Just because of the size and the detail on it. And it's a fun thing to do. And if the missus likes to plant flowers and stuff, and you like to run the trains, it's a nice match.
That is, isn't it?
It's something that you can do together. Some say it's in New Jersey.
All right.
As any political subdivision is, nobody can ever agree.
Oh, really? Okay.
But this was a gift from France, and it was built. The unique thing about it is the semi-star-shaped wall around the Statue of Liberty was built in the 1700s as a fortress to protect the harbor.
Really?
And it sat there. It was abandoned and all. When the United States received the statue, they placed it inside that fortress.
Right. So a great foundation, eh?
Yeah.
And what's this baby? That's this Amtrak.
Amtrak is the result of most of the railroads wanting to get out of the passenger business and finally doing it as a quasi-public entity.
All right.
Supported somewhat by the government subsidies to provide passenger service to a few of the major cities in the country. It's nothing like you find in Europe. At least it's some mode of transportation.
Right.
Most of the railroad that carry a lot of people are the commuter railroads out of the big cities like Philly, New York, Chicago.
Okay. Yes. Yeah. So Amtrak's still going there strong, but is this a normal engine that Amtrak runs?
That's the latest engine, yeah.
The latest one.
Yeah. It had, I think that's about the third generation of locomotives.
All right.
initially they used the passenger engines from the railroads they absorbed,
Right.
and then after that they started developing their own
Okay. Right.
locomotives.
Right. And then moving right along here, we've got.
The lumber camp. This is the Dakota National Forest. We're representing trees here, but a lot of these trees are several hundred feet tall in the national park.
Right. Yeah.
They've grown for years and years. I mean, some of them they really think probably were growing when Christ was born.
Yeah.
They're that old.
Yeah.
Huge trees.
This baby is.
This next scene here is it represents Steamtown, USA. It's located in northeastern Pennsylvania, and it's a large collection of railroad equipment.
All right. Okay.
An individual started it in Vermont. Upon his passing, it was moved down to Pennsylvania, and it was taken over by the state and then became a national
All right.
site. They have hundreds of pieces of equipment and
Right.
artifacts and so forth.
And this big engine here, what's this baby?
That's a Union Pacific locomotive. It's called the Big Boy, and the reason for that is it's the largest locomotive that operated in the United States.
All right.
Strictly restricted to the western states because of its size. The eastern railroads, most of them go back way into the 1800s, and the tunnels are small, and
Right.
the bridges are light.
Yeah.
So this fellow wouldn't get too far
Right.
here in the Northeast, but it was capable of very high speed moving large freight trains
Okay.
through the western part of the country.
Right.
There's a few of them left. There's one was just recently put back in operation
Is there really?
to run out west.
Okay. That would be a great trip, wouldn't it?
Oh yeah,
Yeah, it'd be magic to see it, wouldn't it?
that would be great.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
And represented here also then on the turntable and back in the roundhouse are some of your, we would call vintage locomotives from the early 1900s.
Right.
The engines in the front here, the Reading and the Pennsy, represent what we call first generation diesels.
All right.
So they came into being in the early 40s, moving both the Pennsylvania Railroad one, that would have been a freight locomotive,
Okay.
and
Right.
and the Reading would be a yard switcher.
This is the green one here, is it?
Yes, the green one. That's
Like a shunting loco type.
right.
Yeah.
Pennsylvania and Gettysburg,
Okay.
which is quite famous. Civil War.
Yeah. And this is just what it looks like.
And this is pretty much what it looks like. A lot of statues around, cannons, placements,
Oh, yeah.
fencing, and so forth.
Right.
It was quite a big battle. It was one of the major battles of the Civil War, and a definite turning point for the North to win. The Southern Confederacy troops actually withdrew and gave up, but in Gettysburg itself, you can tour the town. It's inactive, lived in town, but you'll see places where cannonballs are actually embedded in the side of the stone buildings.
Golly gee.
And
Yeah.
the battle wasn't in the town itself, but sometimes they went further than they wanted to.
Right, right. Yeah. And then along here a bit more.
And then the next thing that we represented here was right here in Philadelphia. Is where the Constitution of the United States was written, in the center building there. It's
Right.
Constitution Hall.
That's the one in the middle, yeah.
That's the one in the middle. And we have the Liberty Bell
Right.
in its shrine, and that has quite a history. Permanent home now is Philadelphia. It has, over the years, just drug around the whole country on tours so
Right,
people
okay.
can see it.
It's quite a story to it, isn't it?
Yes, quite a lengthy story. The building in the center, which was Constitution Hall, it actually hung in the belfry.
All
Started
right.
there, and then when it looked like Philadelphia was going to fall to the British troops, they excuse me, they loaded it up and moved it to Allentown,
Right.
where it spent some time, and then it toured the country for
Okay.
a while, and then finally ended up back at Philadelphia.
Right. These tram cars in the foreground, are they?
Those are trolley cars that operate in Philadelphia.
All right.
They're one of the sponsors of the show,
Really?
so we had something there to represent
Yeah.
their partnership.
Yeah. We call them tram cars
Right.
in New Zealand. The
Yeah.
trolley cars.
There's trolleys here.
Yeah. And then finally, down the end, we've got more.
It's represented here. We have Lincoln's Memorial,
Okay.
who of course was president at the time of the Civil War. We have the reflecting pond, which is a lot bigger in real life.
Yeah.
That's a lot of things. Dr. Martin Luther King spoke there.
All right. And that's the Lincoln Monument, is it?
That's the Lincoln Monument.
Yeah. What's that big tall baby thing
And
there?
that's the Washington Monument.
Washington Monument.
That's currently under extensive repairs. A few years ago, we actually had an earthquake in the area.
Oh,
And
yes.
there were some cracks developed.
Oh, no.
Yeah, and they're working on these.
So that's out of action at the moment.
This is a duplication, if you wanted to compare the Lincoln Memorial, the Washington Monument should actually stick through the ceiling.
Really?
Yeah, in scale thing, it would be
Okay.
14 feet high.
Oh, yeah.
We had to modify things a little bit.
Yeah. No, well done, you guys. It's a great effort. You thinking about coming back next year, are you?
They're talking about it. Now this year, of course, the theme of the flower show is National Parks and Monuments.
Yes.
So that's what we've addressed here. This is our first trip here.
Right.
Next year is the Flowers of Holland.
Flowers of Holland.
Yeah, which is, so I'm not quite sure what they'll want us to duplicate or show next year.
Right.
It could be interesting because in Europe almost all your trains run on electric power.
Yeah.
So I don't know
A little bit, but yeah.
how much they want us to do. We'll find out later.
Yeah. But no, that's very good. Thank you very much for your time to show us around, man.
You're quite welcome. Glad to do it. Nice to have a visitor from New Zealand.
Right. No, that's no problem. No problem at all.
I am Dick Deem.
Dick
Deem.
Deem. Right, pleased to meet you, Dick.
And
Thank you very much. Yeah.
I'm a member of the Southeast Pennsylvania Garden Railway Society.
Right.
And that's the group that did all these presentations that we just walked through.
Magic. Really appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah.
Quite welcome.